Okay, I'm back. All right, so when I last left you, we were talking about the annotated bibliography and the three paragraphs, if you will, that will accompany each one of your sources. So summarize, right? We go back and we kind of do that close read. A lot of times when we think about annotations, we think about underlining. We think about writing in the margins, underlining difficult words that we might want to look up, highlighting, kind of being involved with the text. And so there might be a part of that for you to get to your summary to really understand this particular source, right? What are they saying? What's the main point? What's their main argument? What's their thesis? And what are their main supporting points? And what ultimately are they trying to say? What ultimately are they trying to do? Then we're going to make this assessment, right? Not only and kind of beyond whether it's a useful source or not. And we'll look at the assignment description in a moment, but we really kind of think about how is that, where does this source kind of even rest, to with the other sources? How does it compare? So we might think about, is it converging or diverging? Is it agreeing or disagreeing with some of our other sources? How is it disagreeing or agreeing? Based on the summary there, where does it kind of fit kind of in a way? Then we come in the very last paragraph and say, okay, how are we going to use this source, right? As a reflection paragraph in a way. How does it help shape your argument? How can you use this source in your research papers? Like, what is this source's role? What's it going to do? How are you going to use it? And in what way are you going to use it and to do what with it? And that's kind of what we think about a lot of times when we talk about the annotated bibliography, that those are the three main paragraphs for your four sources that you'll want to have in there. So here's the annotated bibliography assignment. And the reason it's four sources is because I want to kind of just demonstrate that you've got, right, it's worth 100 points and it's 25 points per annotation. So each one of those annotations will need to have that summary, that assessment / and or is this, I think this calls it here, this evaluation of it. Where does the source fit? How does it fit with your other sources? And then that final paragraph, we're talking about how am I now going to use it, right? All right, so we want to make sure too also that as part of this summary and this evaluation of the source and its use value and its role in our argument. And then remember too, that's how we see it today, not necessarily how it ends up being. You may replace that source. That source may take on a different role as you find out more information, as you continue to research, right? As you further your knowledge and you further your information about this topic. Because right now we're just trying to really ascertain, what it is, what's happening, where's the conversation. We're still narrowing down that conversation. This is part of that process. Process also helps us weed out sources that we may not need, okay? And that's okay too. All right, so we're going to summarize, right? Then we're going to do some analysis. And then we're going to talk about the relevance, whereas what I talked about is a reflection of the source, right? How's it relevant? How are you going to use it? What does it do? What's its important? What do you feel like its role is? Here's the analysis, right? We talked about that from the Purdue OWL, right? And then we've got the summary. All right, what is the purpose of this article? And then what are we going to do? Explain the rest of it. And we're kind of like a rhetorical textual analysis, which we kind of talked about. What's the main points, right? What was the overall theme? What was the thesis? What were they trying to prove? What were they doing? All right, and you can follow this as a really good guide. So please do feel free to use that. So our purpose, right, is to focus on our research in a very more kind of in a more specific way and to kind of help us narrow down by going through this process. And if you look at your 10 sources and let's say you select 4 that you think are your strongest ones. And as you're reading through, you get to source 2 or 3 or 4 and it doesn't work, just chuck it and get another source, right? We really want to try to narrow this down where we've got a super concrete sampling, right? And because we're, like I said, we're creating this room. We're creating the room in which the pizza conversation is taking place because academics don't sit usually in a room and just have these academic conversations. They're written down and they published in different journals, right? That's why we think about interdisciplinarity when we talked about the last assignment, right? They're not always going to be published in one journal. It's not one journal in that one publication in that one space and time. Not going to all usually talk about one thing, right? It comes out randomly, right? So we're gotta kind of create the room, if you will. Okay, so that's what you got going on for the annotated bibliography. So keep working on that. For those of you who weren't able to be in class, we miss you. We hope that you're doing well. Please do get better and stay safe. And we'll talk again soon. All right, guys. I hope that you are okay. Just stay safe. All right, guys. Stay awesome. Bye.